Good day, guys. Today we are going to be talking about the square root of surds. Now, there are three major ways in approaching question under the square root of surd. The first way is by the use of formula 1. The second way is by the use of formula 2, while the third way is by the use of trick. Now, if you're talking about the formula 1, this is by using the expression a plus b plus 2 root ab or a plus b minus 2 root ab. While we are talking about the formula 2, this is by using this general formula, that is square root a plus or minus root b will be equals to square root a plus square root a squared minus b over 2. Don't mind that. Now, but what you have to notice is that this formula 1 works for the surd that are in the form of p plus 2 root q. This formula 1 work for the sum that are in the form of this something plus 2 root something. But this formula 2 works for the surds that are in the form of p plus root q. So now let us see how to apply the formula 1 and formula 2 in solving questions and how to use the trick in solving these questions. Now guys, in this example, the question is find the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10. Now guys, firstly, we are going to be using three methods: the trick method, the formula 1 and formula 2 method. Now let me start with the trick method. Method 1. I'm going to be using trick now, for now. So guys, the trick method is very simple. Are you there? I will just explain in a simple manner. Now, you know the question is find the square root of this. You will just write square root, this term square root, this is it, of 7 plus 2 root 10. So you want to look for the square root of this. So we are going to get our answer to be of this form: root something plus root something. Let me say root a plus b. So we are going to get our answer to be of this form: root a plus root something. So whenever you are looking for the square root of this type of surd, then the answer will always be in these two forms: this plus this. If what is there is plus, what will be here be plus. If what is there minus, what will be here be minus. So we now want to look for the value of this and this. It's very simple. What we just do is this, guys. We are going to look for two numbers in which, if you multiply these two numbers together, you are going to get the value under this small square roots. And if you add these two numbers together, you are going to get the value that is not under the small square roots. That is this value. So we are going to look for two numbers in which, if you multiply them together, we will get the value under the square root. And if you add them together, we are going to get this value here. Guys, what are those values? That is 5 and 2. So this simply means that my a is 5, my b is 2. So the final answer for the square root 7 plus 2 root 10 is equals to root 5 plus root 2. That's the final answer, guys. Okay? Now, guys, before I move on, let me test you with this trick. Let's say you have a question like 5 plus 2 root 6. They ask you to look for the square root of this. They ask you to look for the square root of this. What do you think the answer is? Let me see your answer. What's the answer? Okay, just look for two numbers. If you multiply them together, you will get this 6. And if you add them together, you will get this 5. What numbers are that? 3 and 2. So your answer will just be what? Root 3 plus root 2. Do you get that? Now, that is that, guys. Let's now use the formula 1 and formula 2 trick. Now, listen. The reason why we have to be used to your formulas also. The first reason is because it's for you to because there are some particular questions that the trick will not work for. And before you can say you want to use the trick, the question must always be in the form of p plus 2 root q. That is, there must be 2 at the back of it. If there is no 2 at the back of it, you can't use the trick. So listen, before you can use the trick, the question must be of this form. And the second thing now is that there are some particular questions that you will not see the exact value. That if you multiply them together, they will give you, and if you add them together, they will give you. Like question like the form, let's say you have 7 plus 2 root 9. Is that for this particular question like this? You can't use the trick. Because there is no two numbers to multiply together, no two integer numbers to multiply together that will give you 9. And if you add them together, they will give you 7. So therefore, that is why you have to know your what? The formula 1 and the formula 2. Now let's use the formula 1 for this same question. Now guys, if you want to use the method 2 now, which is formula 1 for this question, what we're going to do is this. You know the question is find the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10. You are going to write it as this. Square root 7 plus 2 root 10. Now you will now equal it. You are going to equate it to. Now don't forget that the answer must be in the form of root A plus root B. So you are going to write this. This is what we are going to do firstly. Now once you've done this, guys, the next thing you are now going to do now is that you are now going to square both sides. Square both sides. So if I should square this, then this expression will remain 7 plus 2 root 10 is equals to root A plus root B all squared. So that's that. Because this square root will just come to the other side, then this will be this. Now if I should simplify this expression, I'm going to get it as A plus B plus 2 root AB. If I just simplify that, I'm going to get it as A plus B plus 2 root AB. Now, once I've gotten this, then the next thing now is that I will now say if 7 plus 2 root 10 is equals to A plus B plus 2 root AB. This simply means that 7 can equals to A plus B, while also 2 root 10 can equals to 2 root AB. So what I'm going to do, I will just relate the question and the expression I got. I'm going to relate them together like this. So this 7 will equals to this part, while the 2 root 10 will equals to this 2 root AB part. So this simply means that these 2 can cancel these 2, the square can cancel this square, sorry, the square root can cancel this square root, then it remains 10 is equals to AB. So I can say this is equation 1, I can say this is equation 2. Now once I'm at this point, I will just say that from equation 1, A can be equals to 7 minus B. So from my equation 1, I can bring this B to the other side, then A will be equals to 7 minus B. So I will then say substitute A equals to 7 minus B in equation 2. So I'm going to substitute this value of A in this equation 2. Therefore, I'm going to have it as 10 is equals to, you know my A is now 7 minus B. That will be 7 minus B, B. Therefore, I'm going to open the bracket. This will now turn to 10 is equals to 7 times B, 7B minus B squared. Then I'm going to rearrange to form a quadratic equation. How am I going to do that? I will firstly bring this 10 to the other side. This will now turn to 0 is equals to 7B minus B squared minus 10. Because I bring this 10 to the other side, it turns to what? Minus 10. So I can then rewrite this as 7B minus B squared minus 10 is equal to 0. I can rewrite it as this. This and this are the same thing. So I can just follow the quadratic form. So I will just let the highest power comes first. This can then be minus B squared plus 7B minus 10 is equals to 0. I can write like this. Then I'm going to solve it quadratically. Solve quadratically. So if I should solve quadratically, I'm going to get the value for, I'm going to get two values for B. B is equals to 5, B is equals to 5. I'm going to get the two values for B. So once I'm here, I'm done with that. So I will just say that if A is equals to 7 minus B and B is equals to 5, therefore A will be equals to 2 because 7 minus 5 is 2. I will also say if A is equals to 7 minus 5 minus B and B is equals to 2. Therefore, A will be equals to 5. Therefore, I will now come back to the beginning of this question. The square root 7 plus 2 root 10, which was equals to root A plus root B, that will just be equals to root 5 plus root 2. I will just say twice. So that's the answer, guys. We see that we got the same answer as when we were using the trick. So that's how to do it. So this approach works for all the questions in the form of P plus 2 root Q. Now, let's use the formula method in solving the same question also. Now, guys, if you are using the method 3, formula 2 in solving this question, before you can say you want to use the formula 2, you must firstly know this general formula. This general formula, if what is in the question is plus, then here should be plus and here should be plus. But if what is in question is minus, here should be minus, here should be minus. This is the general formula for the equation. Now, but you have to know that the trick and the method 1 we used the other time, they work for the question in the form P plus 2 root Q. But this method 3 and this formula, it works for the question in the form P plus root Q. So this simply means that before I can say that I want to use this formula, I must firstly convert my question to this form of P plus root Q. So how am I going to do that? I will just say 7 plus 2 root 10. So I will just be converting my 2 root 10 to its original form. You know, in my previous video, we've explained how to convert this to the original form, right? So, but if you want to do that, this will just be 7 plus 2 times root 10. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to square these two. If I should square these two, I'm going to get 4. The value I got after the squaring of these two, I'm going to put that value under the square root. Then this will now turn to 7 plus root 40. Because the square of 2 is 4. 4 times 10 is what? 40. So that's that. So this simply means that we have converted the question to this form. You will see that there is nothing here again. So we have converted the question to the form of this. So therefore, after we've done that, now the value that is outside the bracket, we are going to represent it as A. So our A is 7. And the value under the bracket, we are going to represent it as B. Our B is 40. So we will now write the general formula, which is square root A plus root B. That will now be equals to, the general formula is square root A plus square root A square minus B over 2 plus square root A minus square root A square minus B over 2. Do not forget that if what is in the question is plus, then the formula here should be plus, and here should also be what? Plus. But if it is minus, here should be minus, and here should also be what? Minus. So, but since our question is plus, that's why we wrote it as this and this. Now, since we've gotten the value of our A and our B, let's just substitute. So this now be square root, our A is 7 plus square root 7 square minus our B is 40 over 2 plus square root 7 minus square root 7 square minus 40 over 2. Now guys, what is 7 square? That is 49. What is 49 minus 40? That is 9. So this will then turns to square root 7 plus 9. 7 plus root 9 over 2 plus square root 7 minus root 9 over 2. So now guys, what is root 9? Root 9 is what? 3. Then what is 7 plus 3? That is what? 10. What is 10 divided by 2? That is what? 5. And that's equals to root 5 plus, what is root 9? 3. What is 7 minus 3? 4. What is 5 divided by 2? That is what? 2. So that is that, guys. This simply means that the square root of 7 plus root 40 is equals to this. So don't forget that 7 plus root 40 is same thing as what? 7 plus 2 root 10. So the final answer for the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 is what? Root 5 plus root 2. You see that the answer we get for this is also the same answer we got for the trick and the what? And the formula 1. So that is that. Let's look at another form of questions.